All right, good afternoon. My name is Mary Myers. I'm the Director of Business Development at the Lake Superior Community Partnership. Thank you for joining our webinar today, where I'll be going over the 2020 Marquette County Data Booklet. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, there is a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and you can feel free to ask any questions. I will get to those at the end. Another thing to note, I won't be going through the entire booklet today. I'll be highlighting a few key graphs, but you can find the entire booklet on our webpage at marquette.org. We did create this booklet. It is created on an annual basis, we use multiple data sources. Michigan Bureau of Labor Market Information and Statistics Initiatives is one of them. That's the state's data source. MZ is where a lot of the information comes from, and that's an in-house data tool. And then we use some federal data sources as well, such as the Census Bureau. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Starting with the unemployment rate. This is the total percentage. What the unemployment rate is the total percentage of persons that do not have a job but have actively looked for work in the prior 4 weeks and are available to work. To no one's surprise, you can see due to COVID-19, we had a high unemployment rate last year of 8.3% in Marquette County. That was 0.2% higher than the national average and 1.6% lower or higher than the state. Lower than the state. I'm getting those mixed up. As you can expect, this year the unemployment rate has dropped drastically, and it's more similar to 2019 numbers. May's unemployment rate, which is the most current that's out right now, came in at 5.4%. Major industries, these charts show the total number of jobs in manufacturing and resource extraction in Marquette County. These two industries are two of the largest contributing industries to our gross regional products in the county. And it's important for us to look at this data because their economic health can be analyzed to make predictions about the local economy as a whole. So over the last 10 years, manufacturing has shown steady growth, with the largest increase in employment coming from surgical and medical instrument manufacturing. So think of businesses like RTI Surgical and Able Medical Devices because they contribute to that. This sector is expected to continue to grow over the next 10 years by 280 jobs, and that's just manufacturing in general. The mining industry is expected to decline over the next 10 years, and that's mostly because of Eagle Mine coming to its life end, or end of life. Employment by industry. This graph shows the total percentage of jobs in a given industry. A quick note, anything less than 2% isn't shown on this just because it gets way too clustered if we show that. But you can look at the full chart of numbers in our data booklet. This is an important graph because it shows you which industries are growing and which are suffering. So for 2020, the chart showed similar trends from 2019. We expect to see major growth for management of companies and enterprises, manufacturing, and wholesale trade. Some businesses that reflect management of companies and enterprises in Marquette County are Range Bank and Trimedia. The sector of regional managing offices falls into that. The wholesale industry is also expected to see growth over the next 10 years. So gross regional products is the total market value of all goods and services produced in our region over the past year. So this is a great indicator of our health of our economy. An increase in our GRP is a positive indicator of growth. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise that the mining sector is one of the largest contributing factors to this. And then government and healthcare also come in, and those three collectively make up 50% of our GRP. Natural resource extraction, that's the mining. They led GRP for the 7th consecutive year in a row at 18%. And one thing that I want to mention, government is so high also because the prison's included in there under local and state government sectors. And once again, this is just a snippet. You can find the full chart in our data booklet. Annual trade. This shows the total activity of imports and exports of goods and services in the region. So this is reflected in dollar amounts, and it's narrowed down by the thousands. But what this shows is it ties back to our GRP. So as a greater amount of trade in the region generally leads to a greater GRP. The more money there is in the economy, the more taxes are being paid, which leads to more public funding for things like schools, roads, parks, things like that. Similar to 2019, government followed by manufacturing and the mining industry had the largest or the highest total in trade for 2020. Population forecast. This graph shows the estimated growth of population. Oh, I think I skipped over one. No, I didn't. This graph shows over the estimated growth of population. Marquette County is expected to decrease in population over the next 8 years, which reflects trends of our aging population, smaller households, and the outmigration of younger families and individuals. The UP as a whole is expected to see a steady decline as well, but Michigan, the state of Michigan, is actually projected to grow. Employment forecast. This shows the projected growth of the number of jobs in the county. It's important for us to watch as an increasing number of jobs in the community presents the opportunity for new residents outside the region to move here and contribute to our local tax base. So again, more taxes means, that increased funding for things that we like to do, roads, parks, our school system. From 2015 to 2020, we saw a 6.2 decline of jobs. Over the next 10 years, we're expected to see that continue. UP overall is expected to increase. If you looked at our housing market, it's been crazy lately. Here you can see a summary of real estate sales in Marquette County. From last year, there was an increase in the number of residential homes sold from 2019 to 2020. The average price of residential homes increased by 6.3%. And then the average price of commercial real estate also increased by 44%. As I mentioned, Marquette housing market reflects the national housing supply trends and shortages. QPAD also recently released a housing needs assessment, which showed a strong demand for housing. Here you can see the level of education each person in the county has based on population estimates. This is for those over the age of 25. So 24 and below are not reflected in these numbers. Educational attainment in Marquette County residents is higher than the national average. 23.5% of residents possess a bachelor's degree, and that's 3.5% above the national average. 9.2% hold an associate's degree, which is 0.6% above the national average. The last chart I'm going to go over is net migration. This table shows the yearly population movement between U.S. counties based on data from the IRS. This does lack 1 year. So we do anticipate this to change over 2020 data due to the trends from COVID, people moving to smaller communities. Based on 2019 data, which is up here, Marquette County saw an increase in the net migration from the counties shown in the snapshot. This is not all of the counties. It gives you over 100 in the full report. But overall, we had an inbound migration of just over 1,700 and an outbound migration of just over 1,900 for a total net loss of 191. And if you'd like to see the full report, I can send that to you. Like I said, there's a lot more counties in there. So as I mentioned before, you can view the full data booklet on our website at marquette.org/data. Here is my contact information. I know that's a lot of information I just went over. Data can get a little boring at times. So if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer those for you or go more in depth about what is in the booklet. If you have questions, please submit those through the question pane, and I will get to those right now. Give it a couple minutes. While I'm waiting for some to come through, I'll mention that we do this for other counties as well. So there will be one released for Baraga and Dickinson County through our partnership with them. And we use our MZ tool, as I mentioned, and there's another webinar that'll be done on that later this fall. But the tools that we have can pull a wide variety of data. So if there's something that you're looking for information and it's not in this report, reach out. We can most likely pull it for you. Or if you're looking for further out projections or historical trends, we have access to all of that as well. If you jumped on the webinar late, this is being recorded, so you will be able to watch that. Our marketing team will send you an email with a link to that. I am not seeing any questions come through, but again, if something comes to mind, just shoot me an email. I'd be happy to answer those, and I appreciate you all attending. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.